Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye. So I'm just filling in for TBD. I don't know who's supposed to be giving class. So since no one is here, I'm just trying to do this service. And I wasn't sure what verse, but Raseshwari said she was born in September 17. So since we're on 7th canto, we're going to choose chapter 9 because that is September. And we're going to choose text 17 because that's when Rasheshwari was born. So if you have your phones, you can maybe pull it up. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text 17. 7, 9, 17. Yasmat priya priya viyoga samyoga janma shokagnina sakala yonushu dahyamana dukkaushadam tadapi dukkam atadhiyaham bhuman brahmami vadatme tavadasya yogam. So these are prayers offered by Prahlad Maharaj. Going to read the translation and purport, but we'll also read the transliterations. Sorry, I don't have my glasses, so. Yasmat, okay, maybe we can do repetition. Yasmat, because of which, because of existing in the material world. Priya, pleasing. Apriya, not pleasing. Viyoga, by separation. Samyoga, and combination. Janma, whose birth. Shokagnina, by the fire of lamentation. Sakala yonishu, in any type of body. Dahyamana, being burned. Dukkaushadam, remedial measures for miserable life. Tat, that. Api, also. Dukkham, suffering. Atadhiya, by accepting the body as the self. Aham, I. Bhuman, O great one. Brahmani, Brahmami, I am wandering within the cycle of birth and death. Vada, kindly instruct. Me unto me. Tava, your. Dasya yogam, activities of service. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O Great One, O Supreme Lord, because of combination with pleasing and displeasing circumstances, and because of separation from them, one is placed in a most regrettable position within heavenly or hellish planets, as if burning in a fire of lamentation. Although there are many remedies by which to get out of miserable life, any such remedies in the material world are most miserable than the miseries themselves. Therefore, I think that the only remedy is to engage in your service. Kindly instruct me in such service. Purport. Prahlad Maharaj aspired to engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. After the death of his father, who was materially very opulent, Prahlad would have inherited his father's property, which extended throughout the world. But Prahlad Maharaj was not inclined to accept such material opulence, for whether one is in the heavenly or hellish planets, or is a rich or a poor man's son, material conditions are everywhere. Therefore, no condition of life is at all pleasing. If one wants the uncontaminated pleasure of blissful life, he must engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Material opulence may be somewhat pleasing for the time being, but to come to that temporary pleasing condition, one must work extremely hard. When a poor man is rich, he may be better situated, but to come to that position, he had to accept many miseries. The fact is that in material life, whether one is miserable or happy, both conditions are miserable. If one actually wants happy, blissful life, one must become Krishna conscious and constantly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the real remedy. The entire world is under the illusion that people will be happy by advancing in materialistic measures to counteract the miseries of conditioned life. But this attempt will never be successful. Humanity must be trained to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. I'll read that sentence again. Humanity must be trained to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. There can be no happiness in changing one's material conditions, for everywhere there is trouble and misery. So, these are extremely wise prayers by Prahlad Maharaj, who is a Mahajan. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying that in this material world, sometimes you will have pleasing and disappointing situations. But irrespective of you are situated in a heavenly planet or in a hellish planet, it is miserable. Krishna, he stamps this material world as Dukkhalayam. So, Dukkhalayam means So if you break this word down, dukkha and alaya. So just like a school is called Vidyalaya, Vidya Alaya, a place where Vidya or education is imparted. A pharmacy or a hospital, they're called Aushadalaya. Aushad means medicine, and a place where medicine is given, right? A library is called Granthalaya. Grantha means scripture or books, place where there are books you can go and study. So in the same way, the creator of this material world stamps this place as Dukkhalaya, place where misery is imparted. So it is very difficult to, it's like I want to dive into the pool, but I don't want to be wet. It's impossible. So whether one wants it or doesn't want it, this material body is a wonderful instrument to experience pain. So if you look at, you take any part of your body. For example, you can take your finger, right? Now think of 10 different ways in which you can give pain to this finger. You don't have to tell me, you just think. Maybe, can you think of, immediately so many thoughts will come into our mind, right? 10 different ways we can give pain to this finger. Now, can you think of 10 different ways you can give pleasure to this finger? What about 5 different ways? 2 different ways? Even one way you can give pleasure to this finger? So this material body is designed to experience pain, not pleasure. But the living entity wants to enjoy. So in this material world, the living entity wants to enjoy. So Krishna, he creates this world in such a way that there is little happiness. So it is basically like the person, he's dunked underwater and he's breathless, and you pull him out, there is like a gasp of air. Oh, this is so pleasurable. Again, you're dunk. So that is how this material world is. And Prahlad Maharaj, he's saying that the remedies by which you can get out of this painful situation, right? So if you look at this material world, we have so many so-called societies and groups for trying to overcome the problems. Like I believe there is like what is known as Alcoholic Anonymous, and if you have drug abuse, and then there is a gambling and addictions and so many things. There are so many societies and groups. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying that these remedies are more miserable than the actual miseries themselves. That's a very profound statement. And he also says that the best remedy, or the only thing that actually works, is your devotional service. So, in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami, he teaches that there are 6 principles or 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. And the first thing that out of these 6, 2 become manifest. One practices Vaidhi Bhakti. The next 2 become manifest when they are in the stage of Raganuga. And the next 2 manifest when in the stage of Prema Bhakti. So the first 2, first symptom is called Kleshagni. And the next one is called Shubhada. So the first symptom one experiences when one practices Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti properly is Kleshagni. Klesha means miseries, right? So these miseries will not trouble us anymore. So it is basically like saying that there is going to be pain, but suffering is optional. So by practicing devotional service, one elevates one's consciousness so that one will not have to suffer. So this is one of the symptoms of practicing devotional service. And in the Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami, he also teaches us that Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Avidya Pitto Patapta Narasya Narochikanu Kintvadarat Anudinam Kalu Shaiva Justa Swadri Kramad Tadgata Mula Hantri. That when one chants the holy names of Krishna, then Kintva Adarad Anudinam Kalu Shaiva Justa. That every day, if you chant the holy names, then Swadvi Kramat Tadgata Mula Hantri. That at Mula, at the root, so the holy name will destroy at the root all the unwanted misgivings within the heart. Also, if we see in the second chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is description provided by Suta Goswami to the sages. And Suta Goswami, he gives 5 different steps on how by practice of devotional service one gets rid of the knots within the heart which keep us stuck to this material world. Suta Goswami, he says, Yad anudhyasino santo karma granti nibandhana chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat kataratim. Asina means sword. Yad anudhyasina santa. So when one remembers the Lord, so one of the angas of bhakti is smaranam, means to remember. So if you constantly remember, so this society is called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Consciousness means you have to be conscious of who? Krishna. So conscious of Krishna means to remember Krishna. So when one constantly remembers Krishna, then here Suta Goswami is saying, Yad anudhyasino santo karma granti nibandhana. So that granti, that knot within the heart, chindanti kovida, chindanti, it becomes cut by that sword of knowledge, of remembrance of the Lord. Chindanti kovidas, O learned people, kona kuryat kataratim. Who in this world will not accept the process of devotional service? So he is encouraging. Again, here if we see Srila Prabhupada, he gives in this purport, he says, material opulence may be somewhat pleasing for the time being, but to come to that temporary pleasing condition, one must work extremely hard. So in this world we see people who, especially rich people who are rich men, but who come to that position from extreme poverty. If you talk to them, they say, I worked so hard, I sacrificed so much. And when they become rich, most of the time they are in anxiety because they are afraid that they are going to lose their hard-earned wealth. So, there is that famous saying in the corporate world. There is this joke where the CEO of some big company, went to some famous beach, and he saw a teenage kid who was surfing on the beach, and the CEO said, "What are you doing with your life?" It's like, "I'm enjoying." You're young man, you need to work hard. And the kid was smart. He said, "Okay, and then what I'm going to do?" It's like, "Go get a job." Fine. And then it's like, work hard, make money, and then buy a house, buy a car, and then get a life, get a wife, have some children, and then work hard, and then take your family for vacations. Where? Like this beach. And then what do I do after that? Relax. That's what I'm doing already. Why do I need to go through that whole thing? So, that's a joke in the corporate world. So here the living entity, for many lifetimes, Shankaracharya says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. That the living entity is going through, life cycles, right? Many, many lifetimes of birth, death, old age, disease, trying to enjoy their senses. If we look at the Shastras, they describe Jalaja Navalakshani, Sthavara Laksha Vimshati, Krumaryo Rudra Sankyanam, Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, Trimshal Lakshani Pashava, Chatur Lakshani Manava. So it says Jalaja Navalakshani. So there are Navalaksha, 9 lakhs of or 900,000 species of aquatics. Sthavara Laksha Vimshati. Vimshati in Sanskrit means 20. So there are 20 lakh or 2 million species of plants. Krimayo Rudra Sankhyanam. Krimi means insects. So there are, Rudra means 11. There are 11 lakhs or 1.1 million species of insects. Pakshinam Dashalakshanam. There are 10 lakhs or 1 million species of birds. And then Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, and then what is the next verse? Trimshal Lakshani Pashava. There are 3 million, Trimshal is 30 lakhs or 3 million. 3 million species of animals, beasts. And then Chatur Lakshani Manava, and 400,000 or 4 lakhs species of human life. So the jiva that gets this human life went through all these transmigration of trying to enjoy, and still not happy. And next life, again, I want to enjoy. Right? Again, the living entity is put into another body, which is described in the Bhagavatam. Karmana daiva netrena jantur deho papattaya striya pravishta udaram pumsa reta kanashraya. By karmana daiva netrena, by daiva, by divine arrangement, jantur deho upapattaye, the living entity gets a deha. How? Striya pravishta udaram. He is injected the udara means the womb of the stri or the female, of the mother. Pumsa reta kanashraya, by the semen of the father. So the living entity is going through these cycles of trying to get a material body, trying to enjoy, trying to get a better life, and then giving it all up, frustrated, unhappy. And here Prahlad Maharaj, he is trying to give us that exit strategy. How you can actually become happy, how you don't have to suffer, how you can actually be peaceful, and how you can become constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. So by executing devotional service, one transmigrates or cuts through the chain of the cycle of birth and death, one becomes happy, and not only one becomes happy and blissful, but one is no more troubled by these material entanglements. There may be problems. There will be problems living in this material world, but one will not be impacted because one's consciousness is now at a higher stage. So this is very, very important. And Srila Prabhupada says that humanity, I'm going to read this sentence, humanity must be trained to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. So we have a great responsibility as the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, is we have to study this philosophy and then we have to teach others this philosophy. We can teach by example, we can teach by our own precept, by engaging in various kinds of service and trying to help people understand. So Srila Prabhupada, when he started the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, one of his tenets was to systematically propagate this science of God realization as described in the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is one of the 7 purposes of ISKCON, right? So our purpose is to teach others by first following it nicely ourselves, and then by helping others practice and apply these principles. So this is very, very important that we understand that there is no condition in this material world that is at all pleasing, and one must not strive for trying to be in a happy condition in this material world. The only thing that is constant in this material world is change. So if you think you are happy for some time, just wait. So we will never be happy until and unless we engage in the service of the Lord. And by practicing this devotional service on a constant basis, one will slowly be able to understand that this Krishna consciousness is the highest benediction for humanity. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Suta Goswami, actually Vyasadeva, in the 2nd verse, he describes the highest religion, the highest truth, which is reality, which is distinguished from illusion. So that is this process, Kevala Ananda Kanda. In the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he also emphasizes this point. He says, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartumavyayam. He says, this process, this knowledge is Rajavidya. It is the king of all knowledge. And he says it's Rajaguhyam, means it is the secret of all secrets. It is the king of all secrets. Why? We can see that. Many times people have the Bhagavad Gita, but they are not able to understand. They are not able to relate to it. See, generally the secret documents, you see, like there are many secret documents that the government keeps. But here, you see, it is openly available, but still people cannot access it. How secret it is. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, and it is Pavitram. This process is very pure. Idam Uttamam, it is the highest. And Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam. Pratyaksha, you can actually perceive it directly when you practice it. And Susukam Kartumavyayam. And it is Susukam, it is very, very happy. as you kartum, as you practice this. So this is exactly what Prahlad Maharaj is trying to give us, that the only remedy that can make us happy is to engage in this service of the Lord, and he's praying to be instructed in this service to Lord Narasimhadev. So I want to stop here, 8:15. Like I said, it was a spontaneous class, but please feel free to add. Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to add any point on how wonderful the material world is? Yeah? You have a question. Okay, so I don't know if there is a mic, but I'll repeat your question because... Okay, what is your question? So you mentioned that this Krishna consciousness movement... I'm going to repeat your question, so just go ahead.
You said like our consciousness should be on Krishna. It's the Krishna consciousness, means we have to put our consciousness on Krishna, right?
Yes.
So always 24 hours, we should be Krishna conscious.
Okay. What is your question?
My question is how it is possible, how, our mind is so tricky, we think so many things, surroundings and material, it's like a lot of disturbances day to day, like, we have to maintain our family and
yes,
job and stuff, and like a lot of meeting friends, people, and a lot of things going in our ear every day, like, so, and then completely we forget Krishna, and like, it's very tough, like, how some or other, how we can, like, maintain that, Krishna conscious, mindset.
Very good question. So how can you remember Krishna all the time when you are encumbered with so many responsibilities?
Right.
So the Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, have given us a formula, is if you practice every day, there are certain times of the day when you practice spiritual life. It is called Brahma Muhurta. So, in Radha Kalachandji Dham, every day in Brahma Muhurta we come and worship Radha Kalachandji. And then after the morning Mangalarti, we sit and we chant together in front of Srila Prabhupada, in front of Tulsi Maharani. And then after that we have Srimad Bhagavatam class. And if you practice just this much, and then after that we have Prasadam, very nice Prasadam. So every day, if you practice just this much, right? You come, you Radha Kalachandji, have darshan of Shri Radha Kalachandji, you chant the holy names, and whenever you have some time, you study scripture, you teach Yare Deka Tare Ha Kaha Krishna Upadesh, you engage in some service, then automatically, slowly, the consciousness becomes purified. It's not that, in the conditioned stage of life, it is impossible to remember Krishna 24/7. It is not possible, right? But by practice of devotional service on a daily basis, on a regular basis, as I quoted that verse from Nectar of Instruction, Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananuk Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyoja Tishtan Vraje Tadanuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayed Akhilam Bhavati Iti Upadesha Saram. Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu. So Krishna's name, Tannama, Rupa, Charita, Adi. So Krishna's name, form, his activities, tannama rupa charitadi sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyoja. Kramena, right? It doesn't happen immediately. It happens sequentially. And the highest stage is Tishtan Vraje Tad Anuragi Jananugami. So in the sadhaka stage, we are struggling to chant our rounds, we're struggling to finish our 16 rounds, we're struggling to, follow the process of Krishna consciousness, we're struggling to read Shastra, we're struggling. But if you continue to do that, then Rupa Goswami promises, what happens at the higher stage? Tishtan Vraje Tad Anuragi Jananugami. That you will be mentally, you will be situated where? Vraja, in Vrindavan. Kalam nayed akhilam bhavati iti upadesha saram. And this is the essence of all advice. Right? So practice Krishna consciousness. Chant the holy names of the Lord. Engage in the 9 process of devotional service. And it will come.
Yes,
right?
Prabhuji, yes.
And even there are many assurances given in Shastra. In the Brahma Samhita, after Lord Brahma, the entire chapter, 5th chapter, after describing and glorifying Krishna in many beautiful verses, the last Krishna summarizes and he gives 5 verses. The second verse he says, Pramanais tat sadacharais tad abhyaser nirantaram bodhayan atmanatmanam bhaktimam api uttamam labhet. So he says, by theistic conduct, pramana. Pramana means by regular study of scriptures, tat pramanais tat sadacharais, by theistic conduct, tad abhyase, by practice, nirantaram, constantly, on daily. Bodhayan atmanatmanam, and by discussing about Krishna consciousness with each other. Bhaktimam api uttamam labhet. The highest bhakti will be attained in gradual stages. So it is very nice that you have that desire that I want to, always remember Krishna. I'm not able to get there, but don't be discouraged. Follow this process as given to us by our previous acharyas, and by doing that, a day will come that, you will be blessed, where you can always remember the holy names, you can always remember the forms of the Lord, you can always remember the pastimes and the qualities. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I want to add something. I have another question. Just like, I want to continue this one. Prabhuji, you mentioned that, so, the devotees who are not living nearby temple, like, you give the example of Radha Kalachandji, because we are not living in Dallas, we are living in Lubbock, Texas.
Okay.
So we have 5 hours drive from here, like,
okay.
west, Lubbock. So there is no temple, there is no center, nothing.
Okay.
So in that situation, when you are away from the devotee association, away from the temple,
yes.
So how can we, maintain this devotional service, Prabhuji? Like, because,
yes.
We want that. Sometimes we come here, like, once in 2-3 months, per 5 months, but it's not possible all the time because of our, like, job stuff over there. So my question is, like, how, we can keep this Krishna consciousness moving forward, without even having these facilities.
Are you the only person who's the devotee in that place?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Okay.
Sarah.
So you have. So. Okay, that's.
20 days in the field. Actually, Prabhuji's job is in the field. So he works in the field, and then and that time we do the program, some 2 program once a month.
Very good.
Saturday and Sunday, like that.
Yeah, some jobs are tough. You have many doctors who work late in the night, sometimes 36 hours, even 72 hours.
Wow.
Some jobs are very difficult. It's not easy. But even Arjuna didn't have an easy job. He had to kill.
Wow.
He wasn't sitting and meditating. He had to throw arrows. There was so much of blood coming out, so many broken parts, so much of crying and shouting, and so much of curses and abuses. And in that stage, he had to be Krishna conscious, right? So sometimes, some jobs are like that, where we have to, the people that we work around with are also not conducive for higher perspective. So most important thing, Prabhu, is try to create a small association. Try to create a sacred space wherever you are. And if you can do that, right, so you dedicate some time. Somehow, it may not be perfect, but it should be something that you should look forward to within your day, 24 hours, whatever time, that this is my offering to Srila Prabhupada, my spiritual master, to the Lord. This is what I can dedicate my time. So that time you chant sincerely. Even, when you're chanting your 16 rounds, just pray to the Lord, pray to the holy name, that at least one mantra let me try to occur with great sincerity. We may not be able to chant purely, but we should try to aspire to chant just one mantra in our 16 rounds. So when we start our chanting, you can pray, Krishna, give me the opportunity to chant just one name, just once, with great sincerity. And you chant your rounds with that prayer and try to call for the holy name of the Lord. And that is one thing I can recommend, because you don't have much association. And if you do have association, it may not be the temple, like, you're staying in Radha Kalachandji Dham, but you're staying in a place where there is no association. Then come together as devotees and dedicate little time, right? Little time for studying, reading scripture, and discussing Matchitta, Madgata, Prana, Bodhayanta, Parasparam, right? Read and try to discuss and see how is this applicable in my life. And when you create that sacred space with like-minded devotees, and keep it in a way so that it is non-judgmental, right? So do it in such a way that devotees feel comfortable, where they can open up and share their heart, because you have a very small circle of devotees. And if you keep this mood and you gradually grow and bring in more and more people, then you can slowly expand this Krishna consciousness movement. I lived in a place in a Middle East country where you can't even practice Krishna consciousness, and I was the only person in that whole city. It was very challenging, but somehow, Krishna arranged, and now there are 2,000 devotees in that place, right? So it's not that, if you just try to do it sincerely, right, Krishna will provide. Srila Prabhupada provides. I heard in one class that Srila Prabhupada saying that the devotees who were sent, disciples, Srila Prabhupada said, you were all sent by my Guru Maharaj. You were placed in these Western world, in these Western countries, so that you can come and assist me. So there are many, many wonderful souls being sent by our acharyas, by Mahaprabhu, so that his statement of every town and village where his holy name will be heard, that prophecy is going to come true. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has placed you in that situation, in that place. So don't give up, because you are doing pioneering work. The work that you're doing is laying the foundation for, many generations to come for the next 10,000 years. So don't be discouraged that you don't have. It is tough, but just keep on and pray to the Lord, pray to the spiritual master, pray to Srila Prabhupada, and surely Mahaprabhu will send right souls and give you the right intelligence. Krishna also promises this. Tesham evanukampartha aham agnana jantama nashayami atma bhavasto gnana deepena bhashvata. He promises this in the Bhagavad Gita, that I give them gnana deepa, I give them the knowledge by which they will come to me. So you be sincere, try to do this, and I am sure, Krishna will help you. Is that okay?
I know Krishna, put over there the situation, so Krishna gave us chance to, help those souls. Maybe they're around there. What you mentioned, that is very encouraging, yeah. Prabhuji, we are also trying. We are trying since 5-6 years we have been there, and we are only me and my wife. But now, there are some Shera, she's sincere, and there are other devotees are slowly coming in. Our Bhakti Vriksha is little bit growing right now. People, they are taking interest. They are having interest on that, like what you mentioned. And it's very encouraging when you talk about that you are the only one person in the Middle East, and now there are 2,000 people. That's the very good example of if we be sincere, then definitely there are great souls over there, and then probably. So we should not be discouraged. Basically, we should not give up. We should keep moving, no matter what. And one day probably it's gonna be bigger. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's very encouraging. Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
You mentioned that last time after Brahma Samhita.
Sorry, can you speak into the mic?
Pramana, that which verse you said?
Pramana is tat sadachara is tad abhyase nirantaram. Oh, the verse number?
Is it in Brahma Samhita?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take Prabhu.
So after Lord Brahma, he speaks the entire Brahma Samhita.
Okay.
Krishna summarizes in 5 verses. I think this is the second verse.
Oh, in the beginning only?
Yes. So it starts with Pramanais tad abhyasair, tad sadacharais tad abhyasair nirantaram.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think the first one is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Bhaja Vishwasha Yadrishi Sadda Siddhir Bhavati Tadrishi. And then the next one is Pramanais Tat Sadachares. So that is the second verse. Like that, 5 verses Krishna speaks.
Oh,
okay. In the Brahma Samhita.
Okay. It is in the 5th chapter. Okay. I'll see. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, that was a impromptu class. Not prepared. I hope it was okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.